have successfully made it to Colts Talk, presented by PrizePicks. Anything Indianapolis Colts, everything Indianapolis Colts, we've got it for you. The Colts have already begun spring cleaning, if you will, on the roster. Some cuts, some waiver guys. They're clearing some cap space, some roster space. They've got undrafted free agents. They've got newly drafted players. They could still make some free agent moves with the salary cap space that they have. They've already begun, so today we're going to talk about some other cut candidates that we could and maybe should see for the Indianapolis Colts. And again, they've got money. They just may continue to clear it. Again, some of it's just spring cleaning, roster cleaning, spots, all that. Another note, teams can roll over their money into the next year. So yes, you may see $26 million. Some teams have even more. Some teams plan to use it coming up. Some teams wait to use it. Some roll it into next season. And again, that Daniel Jones contract, that was kind of the bigger one of the offseason along with Alec Pierce. Let's get into cut candidates. We will begin with Spencer Shrader, the kicker for the Indianapolis Colts. And hey, I said surprise candidates. Some of these names are going to really catch you off guard. The deal with Shrader last season, just a devastating leg injury, torn ACL and MCL pretty early into the year. He was performing well, doing fine by my measure. And now, at this point in time, we've gotten recent word. He's running, he's lifting, he's kicking. Seems to be not 100% yet, but a solid recovery for the Colts kicker, Spencer Shrader. Now, the situation, why he is a cut candidate. The Colts have two kickers as of right now. Blake Grupe stepped in last season and did pretty well. Essentially, what I'm feeling is if you want to rip the Band-Aid off here, if you want to make the decision now, if you're not comfortable with how Shrader's recovering, and if you really like Grupe and you want to save the cash, then you cut Spencer Shrader, right? Because you have, and I'll say, you have two good kicking options. And if you really want to see that through and wait and maybe even trade one of them, great, go for it. But if you want to save that cap space now, you know, there's the pre-June 1st, post-June 1st stuff. You can go ahead and do that. If you cut Spencer Shrader, I feel pretty good about Blake Grupe. He was good for the Colts last season after they picked him up from New Orleans. That's why they re-signed him. Franchise record, 60-yarder, knocking that bad boy down. He was perfect otherwise on the PATs and the other field goals. They had to re-sign him, right? I mean, he was that good. Plus, again, despite the update of running, lifting, kicking, you're still keeping an eye on what was a gruesome leg injury for Spencer Shrader. So we will keep an eye on that. And if you decide, again, you want to save money, you want to make some cuts to save money, then you get rid of Shrader and you keep Blake Grupe. I guess if you really want to, vice versa as well. If you're more of a Shrader person, cut Grupe, save a little bit of cash there. I'll actually leave it up to you guys. Pick a kicker. One or two. It is Blake Grupe or Spencer Shrader. We'll do type B for Blake, S for Spencer. Pick a kicker you want to kick for the Colts in 2026. Another name that we have to discuss, once again, clear-cut candidate. Might be a surprise that we're talking about cutting him rather than trading him. It is Captain Kenny Moore. Yes, he requested a trade from the Indianapolis Colts. That has not happened at this point in time. We really haven't even heard anything about teams interested or teams being seriously interested. And what we have heard is Chris Ballard stepping up and saying, hey, we like Kenny. We appreciate Kenny. We've talked with him. And if we can't get a trade done, he hinted at the idea of we'll do what's best in this situation, which essentially is, hey, we're going to let Kenny go. We're going to save what we save, and Kenny moves on. Speaking of saving what you save, you do save. If you cut him before June 1st, it's $7 million, just over $7 million, close to 10 if you go after in that post cut. And I know a lot of you guys are don't cut him. You got to trade him. You got to get value for him. We'll discuss more on the trade situation with Kenny Moore in just 1 second. But first, today's show is presented by PrizePicks. Today's the day. If you don't have the PrizePicks app, if you don't have America's #1 sports picks app, you got to get it because it is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Lineup-wise, very easy to put together. It's my favorite part, actually. All you have to do, go more or less on a few player stats and then lock in your lineup. I'm a baseball fan, so I usually go with hits, home runs, or strikeouts. I know producer Aiden Priest, he's a basketball guy. We've both been big on the playoffs lately. Points, rebounds, assists, blocks, three-pointers. Put them together. How about that for some of these players? You can go simple on the lineups or make it really interesting. Here's a lineup from producer Aiden Priest. tonight. More on the Tyrese Maxey points there, more on Jaden McDaniels, and that is points and rebounds together on the 19.5. And then for Victor Wembanyama, we wanted to go defense, so blocks and steals more on 6.5. If you like that lineup or most of the lineups we've shown here on the show, producer Aiden Paris and I have got them on our PrizePicks accounts. You can follow us just like social media at Billy_BB at CSAP. Why would you want to do that? After you follow us, with one single click, you can copy the lineups and use them for yourself. Same if you follow your friends on PrizePicks. You can even get access to those lineups before we show them here on Colts Talk. So be sure to follow us, again, at Billy_BB at CSAP. How about a new user offer today? Download the PrizePicks app with the link in the comments and the description. Then use code HMA. You'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Back to Kenny Moore for a second. I understand. Obviously, trading Kenny Moore is better. It's the best thing to do here, and I've been impressed with what the Colts have done. The Zaire Franklin trade, the Michael Pittman trade. I'm going to throw the Anthony Richardson thing to the side. There's a lot going on there. They've done well with guys we've listed as cut candidates, trading them. There's a good chance Chris Ballard somehow, some way, eventually gets this bad boy done. If you don't trade him, $9 million, almost 10 actually, 9.91. That sounds pretty good. You save about $10 million with the Kenny Moore cut there. So you got to feel good about letting Kenny walk, letting Kenny go if you have to. And I do think one of those happens. I know a lot of you guys are starting to get a little nervous after the Anthony Richardson stuff and what's happened with Anthony Richardson. Valid. However, I will say either a cut here, a waive, release with Kenny Moore, or a trade is bound to happen. Now, as we continue on our list of possible cut candidates, surprise cut candidates for the Indianapolis Colts, Laquon Treadwell. And this was an interesting one because as I went through the numbers, the stats, the money, all of that, Treadwell's an interesting fit on this team because he is, I know a lot of people, as the kids say, special teams demon. He likes to make plays on special teams. He has made plays on special teams. However, he'll be entering his third season with the Indianapolis Colts. He has yet to record an offensive stat. There's no catches. There's no rushes, end around trick plays. He's helping more on the defensive side of special teams, right? And you'd only save just under $1 million here. But my big thing with a guy that, again, and they did just re-sign him, which doesn't necessarily mean they'll keep him. It just means they wanted to have him back to give him that opportunity. He's a roster spot. He's a wide receiver spot. You look at the room, after I've dug, I can't believe I had him as wide receiver too, but I guess that's kind of where the Colts were at that point in time. They get Nick Westbrook-Ikine. That's great. I know a lot of you guys are excited about Deion Burks, some of the other undrafted free agents. They added to this room. They've got guys competing for new spots. They've got new faces to learn about and give opportunities to. I don't know if Laquon Treadwell should have a spot when you just added Westbrook-Ikine, Deion Burks, so I know you guys are pumped about. I'm pumped about. E.J. Horton, Raylan Sharp, all trying to make the roster. Heck, look at all that money they've got. Look at that Kenny Moore money. They can go get a DeAndre Hopkins, a Stephon Diggs, a Tyreek Hill. Go cause some trouble. Go get one extra weapon to replace Michael Pittman. Why not? Why does that spot have to be there for Laquon Treadwell? So I'd keep an eye. They feel like he can't give that special teams juice. Not much left there for Laquon Treadwell. Speaking of not much, unfortunate to say this about some of the guys they have on the roster. Tim Smith, a 6th-round draft pick in 2025. Again, this just has to be one of those things where you consider letting him go just because it's not fit, it's not working out, it's not happening as of right now. 6th-round pick in 2025 as a defensive tackle, nothing last year. No stats to be found for Tim Smith. Again, working that rookie contract, you'd save about $885K. Biggest thing here, once again, not just that he would take up a roster spot, but you just have so many defensive tackles now. Buckner, Stewart, Clemens, I think, could play inside or out. You added Noddy, you added Tillery, you added Wooden, on and on and on. It's a good group. I'm excited about this group, and if you really feel like you want that depth, if you really feel like, hey, we've got salary cap space, we don't need to make a move like this, great. But you did add all these names, right? Even a guy like Cameron Ball. Again, this is an undrafted free agent trying to find a spot. Are you holding one from Tim Smith, who clearly has not impressed for you yet, and you went out and got all these guys instead of giving him a shot? or are you going to give Tim Smith that shot during the 2026 season? And then a cut candidate that's a little more about the money, the fit, the situation overall. Jaylon Jones, the corner for Indianapolis. Corner's very tricky situation, and the Colts definitely have to be careful with their corner situation in general. Jaylon Jones, may recall he had some injury issues last year. Hamstrings are very delicate. Hamstrings are very different from most injuries. They just a little more tricky in some situations. He missed 7 games last year. Still benefited, still made some plays, still did some good things for the Colts in 2025, but you could save almost $4 million with cutting Jaylon Jones from that cornerback room, which, you've got Sauce, you've got Ward, you've added Cam Taylor-Britt, right? All those names are in the mix in general. Here's the thing with this, and I also almost had Mekhi Blackmon as a cut candidate as well. He's just under the amount of money that Jaylon Jones makes. The Colts traded for Mekhi Blackmon last year early in the season. You have to be careful because, man, the injuries piled up last year at the cornerback position, right? Ward almost retired. Sauce Gardner was injured at different times. Some of the other guys, Jones obviously was one of them. So to cut corners, quality corners that have played and played well for you, got to be careful. I do understand, the savings and the other spots for other guys and, Jones and consider Blackmon, whatnot. However, you may just be better off saying, hey, we had a lot of injuries last year. Don't want to get in a tough spot this year. Let's keep our cornerback room deep for 2026. Speaking of 2026, want to get to know the Colts fans better that are watching our channel. Will you be attending a Colts game in 2026? Schedule's coming out soon. Got to keep an eye out for it. We'll have it here on Colts Talk, but do want to ask you guys, will you be attending a Colts game in 2026? Type Y for yes, N for no. Hey, if it's Y, which game are you going to? Season ticket holder, all that. Let us know in the comment section down below.